Hello, everyone. Oh, give me a 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aais Program Showcase 2026. My name is Ying Ying. I'm part of the MFA program, and today we have a very exciting schedule that looks into what we are as a program, what we've worked on, and what we are working on currently. Next slide, please. So we will be starting off with an opening introduction where we talk a little bit about the program. Then we're going to look into the AIS 25 cohort. Lastly, we'll have a short video from our program leaders. After that, we're going to move on to what we're working on currently. I'll be joined with my fellow cohort from the design, materials, and costume team to talk a little bit about process. After that, we have a live prototype testing with set, movement, and sound. After that, we will be ending with a Q&A. So if you have any questions about the program, about what you're seeing, please leave them in the live chat, and we will answer them shortly. Next slide, please. The AA Interprofessional Studio is a post-professional program leading to either a 12-month MA or 18-month MFA in spatial performance and design. The program provides through seminars, studio work, workshops, and applied events a postgraduate program that is based on interprofessional collaboration across the creative disciplines. The program functions as an interdisciplinary studio, investigating overlaps between creative work and design during the development of projects and events. Some of the disciplines that the AIS 25-26 cohort possess is we all have a background either in architecture or interior design, but we also have graphic designers, set designers, visual artists, musicians, vocalists, dancers, etc. The program is divided into 2 different phases. Phase 1 is term 1 through 3, where we participated in workshops, theory, group collaboration, and public events. Phase 2 is where we split off, where the MA program works through the summer on their individual thesis in written form. The MFA comes back after the summer term to work on their individual thesis in applied practice. Looking back at term 1, we collaborated and developed a number of performances and events in various different formats. We had workshops in different disciplines like dramaturgy and film, music and sound, staging and devising, and choreography. We also participated in theory sessions where we started off with a collaborative week with Kyo. We participated in the AA's Climate Matters Week, and we also created interventions throughout the school. Term 2 is where we hosted our first event. Event 1 and 2 are in collaboration with Vidar Biennalen, a dance and architecture festival in Norway. Event 1 is named Return, and it occurred at Stone Nest, where the performance is a testing ground for improvisational structures and a merging of different disciplines. Some disciplines that were present in this performance were choreography, music, lighting, projections, and spatial design. Next coming is a video from our program leads.
It is a thing we come across all the time when we talk to people in the creative fields, and we ask, so what are you? Who are you? What are you doing? The answer is often, I am, for example, for myself, I'm Theo, I'm an architect slash painter slash chef, and so on and so forth. So slash people is a kind of accumulation of multiple personas in a way. And there's a huge difference for us between a slash person and, you know, the omni-dilettante. You know, somebody who's seen, like, I can do anything, like, you know, and you're in the end, you're a dilettante in everything. And I think that's not at all the case. You work professionally in all those kind of things. And there are areas where you might only have kind of knowledge, but like in an ensemble work, you give space, you have overlaps, you understand enough that you can sound together in a way as well. And I think that is an important distinction as well. That of course we depend still on some deep knowledge of others and expertise, but that expertise obviously has a different way of shining over if you have this kind of overlapping frequencies. It's one of the reasons why we're called as well interprofessional studio. It's a term from, we explained that in the book as well, from medicine, where you work as an expert with somebody else from a different discipline, but that person does, for example, the knee operation, even though it's an eye doctor, but you bring he brings the sensibility of that careful work into something which might otherwise crack bones. And vice versa. I mean, I'm not from medicine background, I describe it just that way. But the supervision of the expert is there, but the kind of shift away from the static best practice and new sensibilities, and therefore an expansion of both knowledge is coming because of that overlap.
But then as well, like in the studio, we always had the teacher and the student, they swap as well, because like we as teachers, educators, we learn from our students.
Yeah.
So it's like always like shift like every day. No? Like today we just rearranged it, so we had a long table discussing interesting things, and we learned a lot. So like we were really like our heads are everywhere now. And yeah, and that shows even in a seminar series, and we invited our partners from Oslo, so we had a great discussion. So it was a kind of, it's the right and interesting overlap. So it's like not always like everybody, what I always say, self-referential. So it's like, then it would be always the same. You know, you cook your own soup all the time. So it was really nice. And as well, the students are here as well from Oslo at the moment. So they were excited from our series, because it was really like a theory workshop, which could be really dry. But we had a performance just now before we started our interview, because then they showed what they like the future project could be, but it was performative. No? There were projections, there were models, there were objects, and now they're outside doing a debrief in London, and enjoying their time here now.
That's an interesting, maybe last point for the networks as well. These layers of networks, like the layers of the student networks, which come from different disciplines. But of course, our colleagues like Tom and you know, everybody here from the team, which bring levels of expertise we need in order to be professional, right? As well, but in the interplay between all those things, it becomes something which is not the static from before. But you need expertise as well in order to teach one another. And I think that is something we have, fortunately, on multiple levels from students, which bring sometimes completely new and unexpected disciplines to us. Jewelry design, we would have never kind of just like, oh yeah, we need jewelry design. But it brings a different sensibility, for example, and so forth. Yeah.
Thank you, Teo and Tanya. Now we are joined by my lovely cohort. This is our design team. Can you please introduce yourselves really quick?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Iman. I'm part of the MA program. I'm an architect / writer / graphic designer, and since coming here, that has grown into so many more things.
Hello everyone, I'm Dennis, and I'm also an MA program student, and I'm an architect.
I'm Bianca. I'm in the MFA program, and I'm an architect and an artist.
Thank you. I know you guys have been working so hard the past few months. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of making it the particular model behind you? How did you decide on the particular structure, like the shapes and forms? Then can you move on to a little bit about the common ground? How do you make the design site-specific? And also touching a little bit on AV and tech and lighting, and how does that contribute to the spatial design?
So our first event took place in London at Stone Nest, and our structure featured as a hexagonal structure, like primary structure, and also since we are working on natural elements this year, because this is our aim, we used willows and non-plastic materials. Our next event will be in Norway with collaboration with Father Biennalen, and our aim to take our set pieces and materials to there and do a new configuration in our new place.
And I'll talk a little bit about the police system, the mechanism. So we also drew from these almost invisible events of the rock mask, the geological events beneath our feet, another layer of material transfer, machinery choreography that makes the quarry itself as space. So now our body in space, so we think of these systems which our body becomes counterpart in mediating this mass transfer.
And the way that the set behaves is very embedded in the dramaturgy and vice versa. It being a kinetic structure, it becomes a very active part of the performance, where the performers, the dancers, interact with the piece very directly to form a cohesive sort of piece at the very end of it, where the set is in very active conversation with it. It becomes a negotiation between the performers and the space itself.
So I'll also respond on the light and AV, which mainly is done by by Wendy and Xiaoke. So Wendy is a print medium artist who is now working on light, Xiaoke architect working on interactive. So from term one, they worked with artificial lighting, projection, touch designer to create the atmosphere of hope, dusk, and dawn. For the next show, they'll be working with mirror as reflection to respond with the fleeting daylight to create an effective moment right before sunset, complete fade out.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, we could talk about size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the project, in its set design as well as all the other mediums, responds very directly to the site, is in very active conversation with it, is largely the reason so much of our design is improvisational and based on immediate reactions to the site in connection with it. And that informs the set design as well, largely based on a material palette that comes directly from the site itself, as well as with other mediums working with local dancers. It is incredibly site-based.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Next, we are moving on to material research, which is still Bianca. Yes. Sia, can you introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, hi. I'm Sia. I'm responsible for the costume design, and also I'm a writer for the dramaturgy, and also I will collaboration with some material group. Yeah. So let's talk about the material first.
So our material research spans across from costume to set. It focuses more on the long-term strategy and our action to what we care for. So for example, for bioplastic, we work on the molecular action itself to create new materials. We're also very proud that our material palettes, natural dyeing, has expanded from 3 to like 20 colors. Other innovative ideas include cyanotype, chemical gardens, and from Wendy, we're trying to use an iterative process to get us close to our concept through materiality.
Yeah. So for in terms of collaboration, we have the connection with the material group. We also use some small sample to do our costume, and also for the inspiration also have some directly from their material group. Like the last term we used the bioplastic, and this term we're gonna use some fabric testing from those fabric test of the material group. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Now that you've mentioned costumes, can we invite Dennis back and we'll talk a little bit about costume? I swear we have more people in our cohort. It's just a lot of people are in a lot of different groups. If you'll just give us 5 seconds, Sia's bringing over a model. So the costume design team, I know both of you haven't had any official or professional costume design experience. Can you tell us a little bit about what you learned in the past few months designing and making costumes? How do you find inspiration for them, and are there elements that merge and connect to other parts of the project?
Yes, Yinging, as you mentioned, these are first time making costumes. So it's a really interesting process that we learned while doing our costumes. Also, it's really an opportunity to try different departments. So I want to add that too. As a technical wise, I can say that I learned how to sew, how to use the sewing machine. And also we learned a lot about the materials, how they react. And another factor that I can say that costume itself, it isn't like, it intervened with different design departments also, I can say. So while we are working on it, we really look for the set design, dramaturgy, choreography. Yeah, so those are the decisions we took while making our costumes.
Yeah, I do agree with Danny said. It's not only the fashion designs, but also for be part of our whole performance. It's about the dramaturgy, and also I will write some short story for the characters. So we will do the characters and pull down some character into the costume, and it's have the highly connection. And also, I also learned some sewing skills. Yeah, we haven't learned before. And also, I think the most important thing is that we more focus on the details, and the communication is more important than costume making. Yeah, because how you need to concern how the performance can take it off and put it on, and it's all about the detail things, and also the communication is more important because we need to keep the communication with the set design team and also material team and also dancers. So a lot of things we learned that, yeah, it's very fun, interesting, I think. It's very, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, we will move on to our next section. If you, yeah. Next, we are moving on to a prototype testing. I'll be passing the mic over to Iman, and she will be guiding our live composition of our prototype testing.
So for this event, our title is Depart, and we work with concepts of leaving systems that no longer serve you, highlighting the present situation, the departure itself, and then the aftermath, the now what after that moment. So we'll test different compositions with our set piece, with different prompts, with our lovely dancer Yang, and we'll improvise as we go along. following the familiarity with the range of motion with the structure, can we explore becoming one with it, becoming enmeshed in it? And can the enmeshment change texture and become more like trapping? What would it mean to leave it behind and reconnect under different circumstances? Renegotiate your existing relationship, change those dynamics? Are there maybe echoes in the structure since your departure, or echoes in you since your departure? course. That's okay. Take your time. Do we maybe want to play with different levels? Because the moment where you like lay down and it like formed parallel lines was really nice. So maybe more interaction geometry could be fun to explore. Yeah. Also the geometry of like when you pull the thread and how it creates like very rigid movement here, but then this is still very fluid. What are the parts where you feel the most connected to either yourself or the structure? Yeah, that was really nice. I'm craving so much floor work at the quarry. That's lovely. Yeah. Can I help with that? So we'll continue hearing from the rest of the teams. Please introduce yourself to us.
Hi, I'm Ujaswini. My friends call me OJ, and I was the co-sound designer for our event last term and this event as well. So yeah, Iman, can I have the question?
Of course. What was it like collaborating with other musicians, performers, tech, the entire environment?
So, as far as the collaboration bit is concerned, we initially started off with a cross-internal discussion within the student teams, where we talked to the narrative and dramaturgy films, the teams, and then the choreography team and the music team. So we came up with prompts, generated a lot of music regarding that. And then eventually we decided we wanted a live segment for the event, for which we contacted musicians from within our school who are not from our program. So we had around 4 people externally performing for us, myself included. And we practiced, we improvised, mostly we improvised because our schedules were very different. And apart from that, we had a lot of jamming sessions, a lot of feedback sessions from the cross teams. And that's how we developed a fuller final piece, so which ended up becoming a sort of a climax for our show.
And what does the process look like when you're creating tracks before you reach the final version that you settle with?
So for that, thankfully, we have 2 amazing tutors who helped us develop that. And we use different mediums. We use different mediums, like there was a lot of vocalization, there was a lot of spoken words from the narrative team. And the other sound designer, Lou, he generated music digitally, on which we overlaid everything. So that was it mostly.
And what things do you incorporate within the sound composition?
For that, we had a long discussion again with the dramaturgy team, and we mostly using the scenes of what we had generated for the entire show. We broke them down into specific scenes, and we generated a lot of prompts. And using those prompts, we picked up keywords as to what the sound should sound like in that very moment. And we developed on that further. And then we stitched it all up. There was a lot of transition segments that came into play. And yeah, as I mentioned, spoken words, vocalization, live elements, we improvised on set itself as well.
Thank you so much, OJ.
Thank you.
We'd also love to hear from our incredible choreographer and performer, Ying.
Hello.
Hi, Ying. Why is it that we work very frequently with an improvisational framework rather than a set choreographic piece, do you think?
In this interdisciplinary setting, due to a lot of factors like time limitation, flexibility of the structure of the piece, and also working with our collaborators, we opted for a improvisational framework in order to keep the structure very flexible, to be able to adapt on site at that time, whether what things work best for that particular moment. So yeah.
And how do you think the program's approach is different from your past dance experience?
Like I said, we work in a interdisciplinary studio. So a lot of the times when I was a dancer before, dance would be the main thing, and everything else like lighting, sound would cooperate according to how the choreography runs. However, in this setting, all of the mediums are on equal playing fields. So we would have to work with dramaturgy and all the other mediums to decide what moment needs what and what sends the message the best. And yeah.
And where do you tend to draw ideas for prompts?
Yes, so we work very, very closely with dramaturgy. On the choreography team, it's me, and then we have 2 other people on the choreography team who are also on set design and also on dramaturgy. So a lot of the things are very interconnected, and prompts are usually through testings and experiments like we just did, where we draw words from the concept and the narrative and see what movements come out of it. Sometimes it's interpretations of embodying that specific object, or finding different ways to express the same kind of message. And yes, thank you guys. Now we will move on to the Q&A. I will grab my phone really quick and I'll open the stream so I can see what questions have been asked. Let's see. I will also be, if I can't answer the question, I'll see if any of my team members can answer these questions. Hold on. I apologize. I am trying to find the link. Are there? There are no questions. Okay, so we can just talk. You know, now that everything else is over, we can have like a more casual setting and talking about the program. I don't think I introduced my background yet. I'm I'm an interior designer and I'm also a dancer. So a lot of what I do is about spatial and how it feels to audience performer. So my role here has been very, very fun, relearning how I view choreography in a performance setting. When we had the choreography workshop in term 1, a lot of my cohort do not have dance backgrounds, but they were very, very willing to try and really put in 10 out of 10 effort in doing the prompts and doing the improvisation. Like, as a dancer who has been dancing for many years, I was very, very inspired and impressed with how it turned out. And a lot of actually what we bring to the event performances is from that workshop and the sequences and prompts that we came up there, because it worked with the program brief so well. And maybe we can talk a little bit about the event, the upcoming event, yes. So from this point on, we have about a week until we go to Norway, and we're very excited. We are bringing our structure, the design of our structure to Norway. We are going to build most of it there. We will be spending 2 weeks from May 31st to June 13th in Norway. The quarry is called the Brudet Padbrotso, and it is now converted into a performing arts venue. It is a beautiful venue near the sea, and we're super excited to be spending a lot of time there. We'll be hosting 3 different workshops at the quarry. The first one will be a construction workshop where participants will get the chance to participate in the creation of our set pieces. It will be an upgraded new version with new panels, and I guess you'll just have to see what it looks like in a week, 2 weeks time. I think we'll be done constructing in about 2 weeks. And then we'll be having a impressing workshop, which is led by our material research team. And it is a meditative process. It is a lot of hands-on work, very meditative. There's going to be poetry. It sounds amazing. I want to go. It is so calming and relaxing. And then lastly, we'll have a dance and film workshop, which is a personal interest of mine. Along with dance and interior design, I also do a little bit of editing. I run the Instagram page for AIS along with OJ and Xiaoke. Xiaoke is our other editor. She's waving her hand over there. And we make most of the reels and promotional content for the social media. And if you are interested, we do have the full performance of Event 1 up on the AA YouTube, which Xiaoke edited. We love Xiaoke. We can put the link on YouTube. It is on YouTube, AA YouTube. It is a great performance. We've gotten a lot of great reviews on it, and yes. We have a question? Let's see. How's it different? Do you want to talk about this? Okay. We have a question in the comments that Iman and Dennis are going to answer.
So we have a question asking how is it different or similar designing for performance versus designing for architecture? I believe it's just a bunch of different considerations, and like the design process can be pretty similar, but it starts from a different place. While you might otherwise, in architecture as well, and designing both academically and commercially, consider concepts, I think it just works more strictly with dramaturgy in this term, in performance than it would for architecture. There's a lot of back and forth between embodied meaning in the set piece versus the meaning that you derive from it. And then at the same time, since this is something we have to construct in very short amount of time, a lot of consideration goes into the practicalities of design and what that process could look like within a certain time frame.
So I think in my view is sometimes I would think event makes space. So what happens in that space, define the space itself. And a couple of years ago, I was reading Dorian Massey, and then I kind of shared her eyes, which then she was looking out of the train, and she saw the mountains. And at the moment the train has left, the space has changed because the rock is shifting, is always happening, event itself. So I guess in my sense, performance and space and architecture, they are not two categories of things.
As a similarities, I can say that in both of professions, we can work with different types of professions too, because I think like have different perspectives shapes both performance and architecture in a more how can I say? Yeah, holistically, I can say, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions?
Who is asking
Mm-hmm.
what our programs are?
What our programs are?
So, yeah. There's a question asking where most of us are based in, what fields we come from, and how we're just a melting pot of so many different disciplines into one course.
Yeah, a lot of us are from all over the world. There are 12 of us, by the way. So this really is a place where we can learn a lot from each other, learn about different cultures, about different disciplines. I am from Hong Kong, but I also studied a little bit in America and Italy, so I bring that perspective in, and it's really helpful to have these kinds of different perspectives because everything in performance is about interpretation, perception. One thing can be interpreted in so many ways, so having those different lenses is really helpful in trying to figure out the best way to convey whatever we are trying to convey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah. As a final note, I will tell you when our second event will occur. It will be, we have a dinner on the 6th of June at the Quarry, which is going to be a more food market kind of setting. So it will be very, very fun. We'll have fire. We'll be having fire elements to create our foods and a lot of different kind of performances. So it's going to be a performative dinner. Next, we have the open rehearsal, which is on the 11th of June. We are inviting audience to come, and then afterwards we have a after party, so you can come and talk to us if you want. Lastly, our final performance will be on the 12th of June, and yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this answers questions you might have. If you have more questions, we have an Instagram page. It goes aais.25. We also have sessions that you can book. As a student ambassador, Dennis is also a student ambassador. If you would like a one-on-one, you can schedule a meeting with us too. And yeah, we hope to see you in Norway. And we also hope to see you in the coming fall if you're a prospective student. And yeah, thank you.